feel like y'all are really starting to get to know the kids, so I don't have to be as formal with y'all, okay? So just know I'm that cousin that's a little crazy, but you like my crazy. You love my crazy. We need my crazy, but don't judge me. What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl Luna Nova, and I am back with another video for you guys today. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to get into today's topic because it is truly mind-bending, because we are going to get into quantum leaping. Also, apparently it's been well known as quantum immortality. Not exactly sure who coined that term, but we're going to go ahead and get into it. So as I said before, this concept has been getting a lot of attention recently. So if you ever had the possibility or curious thought of whether or not you could shift into another reality, we're going to discuss that today. So get comfortable, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's explore the world of quantum physics and leaping together.
My husband and I had a shared experience that we can't explain. We don't know if it was paranormal, reality shifting, universe hopping, whatever. We have no idea what happened. A few years ago, we were invited to dinner by our Swedish friends, and so we went to their house and had dinner, and then afterwards we went for a walk, and we all walked through their neighborhood to kind of like a fjord type situation with a cliff and water, and the water was iced over and people were ice skating on. I'm like, oh, how nice. We should come back sometime and go ice skating here. A few minutes later, we end up moving to the town, so we have dinner with them more often, and we go back to their house for dinner and we say, hey, can we go on that same walk that we went on a few months ago? And they looked at us like we were crazy. They're like, what are you talking about? We didn't go on a walk. So we explain the cliff and the ice skating and everything, and they just looked at us and they're like, that does not exist here. We don't know what you're talking about. And sure enough, we looked at the map and no such cliff or water or anything existed in their area. So we can't explain what happened.
So the number one question is, what exactly is quantum leaping or reality shifting? At its core, quantum leaping is the concept of shifting from one version of reality to another, often with the belief that realities exist simultaneously in parallel universes, almost like what Dr. Strange talked about. If you really think about it, that movie is a perfect example of how to explain what this is. And obviously, if you couldn't tell by the name, the concept comes from quantum physics.
What's something that happened to you that sounds so fake that if you were to tell people, they wouldn't believe you?
This is a story that I haven't told many people because frankly, I feel like everybody would think I'm crazy. When I was 16 years old, I went on a ski trip with my school. I live in Australia and snow is rare, so we had to go an 18-hour bus ride down south to the snow. I was with my friends, we're having a good time, we were excited to go snowboarding, but on only the second day of this trip, my entire life shifted. So because we weren't experienced in snowboarding, most of us school kids would go with the people who worked at this snow lodge, and we'd all snowboard as one big group down the slopes. Some of the courses were more easy, some of them were more difficult, really just depending on what sort of experience you had as a snowboarder. I had none, so I was snowboarding with a big group of people, but I was the person at the very back of this group. Everyone starts to turn around this big mountain. Because I'm 5 seconds behind everyone, I turn around the mountain 5 seconds later. Mind you, it's a super busy day on the snow, it's a beautiful sunny day, and there are people everywhere, and like not just us school kids, like a lot of people. But when I turn around this big mountain, everyone is gone. Everybody who was in front of me was gone, and everybody who was skiing or snowboarding behind me was gone. Like there were people who were not in the group I was snowboarding with, other people behind me. So once I went around this mountain, they should have followed. I should have been able to see everybody in front of me, because after I turned this mountain, it was just a straight long slope down the hill. But I was dead alone. I'm obviously instantly confused, shocked. I don't understand what's happening. I get my phone out to call my best friend who was on this ski trip with me. And I remember so distinctly, my phone was on like 75% charge, like it was charged. But as soon as I pressed this little circle to enter my phone, my whole screen went black and the no battery signal came up. The only way I could make sense of what happened is that everybody somehow just beat me to the bottom of this course, and everyone behind me somehow went past me without me realizing. I was just like grasping at straws. So I continued to just keep snowboarding down the hill, hoping that I'd just make it to the end. The thing is that there was no end. There was no end to this course, or whatever alternate reality course I had just jumped into. As I mentioned, I was not an experienced snowboarder, so I was trying my best to snowboard, but I kept falling over. I decided to just eventually give up, clip my snowboard off, and walk. I walked for like an hour. I was tired. I was carrying this heavy snowboard. I was walking in snow, which is just as hard as walking in sand. And after what feels like forever, I finally came to this, what looked like an abandoned ski lift. It was really dingy, and old and creaky and looked scary. I thought my best chance was to get onto this ski lift so I could get up high and have a look around, hoping that maybe I'd find where the main area is, because in the main area there's like a bar and cafes and restaurants and whatever. I thought if I can see that, I know which direction to walk in and I can just make my way over there before the sun sets. But when I get onto this ski lift, there's nothing but snow and trees. And obviously I was freaking out because it was sunset, like it was about to be dark. But then I was also thinking, how the fuck did this happen? Like I was with a group of people in a busy area. And also because I was a child and a beginner at snowboarding, obviously they took us to a course that was super close to like the main area. The fact that I'm now on this single seater ski lift looking out 360 views and there's nothing, I didn't know, what do you even do? And it was on that ski lift, I just broke down sobbing. Like I genuinely thought I was going to die. I just wanted my mum. And this ski lift just drops me off at nowhere, like no destination, no platform, nothing. The cabin that we were staying at, the way to get to this main area to go skiing and snowboarding in was that we had to catch a shuttle bus and then an underground subway. The sunset, it's dark. You have to understand how scary it was. Because when I say dark, I mean I couldn't barely see what was in front of me. There's no city lights anywhere. Didn't have the torch on my phone to shine. Just as I was about to give up and sit down and accept what was going to happen, I saw like this glowing light in the distance. And what it led me to was like this glowing tunnel with a staircase leading down into it. And what led me to the bottom was an underground subway. How that was there, I don't know. Why it was there, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense for there to be a proper station there because I was in the middle of nowhere. But sure enough, the subway came and I jumped on it. And it took me to the shuttle buses and I took a shuttle bus back to the cabin. And when I walked into the cabin, all the school kids I was with, all the teachers that were there were all having like dinner together. And I was like, was no one looking for me? And everybody very nonchalantly, not in like even a rude way, were just like, oh, hey, Chloe, there you are. It was almost as if they were hearing me through a filter and they weren't grasping the gravity of what I was trying to say. I don't know. The whole thing was weird. The energy was off. For the next few days, I stayed in the cabin. I refused to leave the cabin. And then when I got home, things felt slightly off. I don't really know how to explain it, but for example, certain objects in my room were in like a different place. And it's not as if anybody in my family would have gone in and rearranged my room. It didn't feel like that's what happened. It felt as if that is where it belonged. But I knew that it was in a different spot before I left. Even just weird things like timing felt different. Everything was just slightly tweaked. When I told my sister about this story a few years later, she said to me, there probably is a timeline out there where you did get lost in the snow and quantum jumped. And she said there's probably a timeline out there where our family is grieving you, which is so scary and sad to think. But that's my story where if I told anybody, they probably wouldn't believe me.
The idea that multiple particles can exist in multiple states at once. So pretty much we have the ability to shift into different parallel universes where we also exist currently. But it's just a bit different. It is where a version of ourselves exists, but maybe going through different circumstances or maybe living a slightly different life.
I am going crazy. I don't know if I just went through like a different dimension or went through a time loop or what the fuck just happened. Or maybe I had a stroke while driving. I don't fucking know. I live one town over from where I work. So it takes me about 25-30 minutes to get home. All I remember was getting on the fucking highway. My husband texts me. I look down. I text him back real fast. I look back up. And I'm no longer on the highway. Somehow I'm in the town that I live in. And I'm on this random ass fucking road that I never drive on. It's literally a fucking road that leads behind like company buildings. This road, people don't drive on this road, but I'm in the town that I live in. I have made it in the town. I'm 5 minutes from my house. And when I got here, it was only 5:14. There is no possible way for me to get from my job to where I live in 14 minutes. The last thing I remember is getting on the I'm so fucking scared I'm about to start crying. I get on the highway, I look at my phone, and I just write back, okay, and then I'm here. And I'm not like crying because I'm just crying because I'm scared. That shit scared the fuck out of me. like, what crosses my mind is like, do I just not remember driving? But there's no fucking way I could have gotten here. Anyway, that scares me. Has anybody ever experienced that?
Now, reality shifting is a little bit different. Now, reality shifting would be one person, for lack of a better term, moving their consciousness to another state of consciousness, often by focusing on a certain desired timeline or experience. It's the idea that through intention, meditation, and energy work, that we can ultimately shift by tapping into alternate dimensions, creating the version of life that we honestly desire. Think about it like stepping through a door into a different universe.
If you don't like crazy stories or diving down into a rabbit hole, keep scrolling. This video is not for you. But if you are, I'm going to tell you the crazy experience I had this morning when I tried to astral project. Now, lately, whenever I try to astral project, I end up just quantum leaping into an alternative timeline. I'm going to call them ATs for short here. I jump into an AT and I explore. Usually when I go into an AT, I'm always curious as to what this timeline's version of husband is doing in those timelines. So that's exactly what I did. I went searching for that guy and I found him and I walked up to him and I introduced myself. I said hello and he, exchanged quick pleasantries and he asked me like, who are you? And I told him, I was like, you're never going to believe me if I told you. And he was like, he looked at me intrigued and he said, try me. Who are you? And I told him, I am from the year 2023. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You are not supposed to tell anybody the time that you are from. None of that. The gatekeepers don't like it. And that's exactly what happened. There were 2 gatekeepers nearby. They heard it. They gave me this shocked, crazy look of like, oh shit. And of course, they said something in their little ear speakers, walkie-talkie things. And then they started coming towards me and tried to grab me so that they can clean up the timeline. And this is the first time that I've done this. Normally I run and get out of it. But this time I looked at them and I said, no. I am here for a reason and a purpose. Leave me alone. Go away. And they freaking did. What? I didn't know you could just command them to do that shit. I did it one other time before, but I just thought that was like a fluke thing with that one gatekeeper. But anyways, so then I continued my conversation with him and we sat down and I told him, I was like, in my timeline, you're my husband. I'm your wife. And then all of a sudden, my youngest son was sleeping in bed with me. So I felt him moving and then I felt that energy starting to pull and I started to like dematerialize in that time zone. And I told him, I can't stay. It's not, the energy is not stable, but I will be back. I will find you again. I quickly shot back into my body and then my son was still asleep. So I was like, okay, go back. So then I immediately, and a lot quicker than the first time, went back into the quantum jumping, went right back to that place and then found him again. It took me a minute. I had to walk around, but I found some people walking towards like this restaurant. So I walked towards that area and I found him. I saw his head and I shouted his name and he was like, actually, my name is Doug. And I was like, your name is totally different than what it is in my timeline, but it was really fascinating. He gave me a hug when I saw him again, and I meant to ask him how much time had lapsed since the last time I had been there, but time ran out, just like now.
So y'all look, I promise, I believe that me and my kids jumped a timeline, because look, y'all, I know y'all wondering why I'm laying in a hospital bed wearing the snake brace, right? So look, I was driving, coming from Walmart, me and my kids. And when I tell y'all, I take the same road in the same way every time. Like, even my daughters said the same thing, y'all. I looked down at my phone, and my daughter, she was already on her phone playing her game or whatever she was doing on her cell phone. But I looked down, y'all, at my phone. I wasn't even looking down that long. I cannot make this up, y'all. I had looked down at my phone. I can't even really remember what I looked down at my phone to do. So I don't even know if it's I jumped the timeline or went in a different dimension or what it was. But look, y'all, I looked down at my phone. I kid y'all not. When I look back up from looking at my phone, me and my kids was somewhere else, y'all. I cannot make this shit up. I don't even know what to call it right now. I don't even know what it is right now. I'm still in the shock, right? So look, y'all, when I look up, me and my kids, when I look up first. And the first thing I say is, where the fuck am I at? Like, I didn't even recognize where I was at. I was not where I was just at before I looked at my phone, y'all. I promise y'all, I was somewhere else. Like, I can't even breathe right now. It's like really freaking me out, right? So look, when my kids heard me say it, like, because that's how much of a shock I was. Like, I was self-talking, but I was out loud. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Where the fuck am I at? Where's we at? Like, so my kids heard me and they look up. Soon as my kids look up, they say the same shit like, mama, where are we at? We was not just right here. Like, we was not just right here where we at. Like, we don't even know where we at. How do we even get right here? So look, y'all, I turn my GPS on and I pull somewhere the bus. I turn my GPS on, y'all. So then when I turn my GPS on, I put my address in. I was like 30 minutes from my house. I don't even know how the fuck I even got that far. That's what the GPS said. I don't even know. So I turn in this place to do a U-turn to go back the other way, y'all. When I tell y'all, when I pull out of this place to go back the other way and I come to a stop, while I'm sitting at a stop trying to make a left turn, a car slammed into the back of me hard as fuck, y'all. I cannot kid y'all. This is why I'm in the hospital right now with this neck brace. Like, my kids are getting checked out. They in the other room. My youngest child, they got her in the room with me because she was so hysterical and shit. She did not want to leave my side. She like still in shock about everything. Y'all, if somebody can tell me what the fuck was that, how did it happen, because I'm not even understanding. Like, I don't know if it's called a timeline jump, a dimension jump. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but y'all put some comments down below because right now I'm not understanding what the fuck just happened, y'all. And y'all, what's so crazy about the car is they saying they didn't even see me. It's like I just appeared out of nowhere and they didn't even know I was there until they hit the back of my shit. Y'all, was like I came through a portal or something. Either I came through a portal or they came through the portal behind me and motherfucker didn't realize, because they did not even see me until they actually impacted my car, y'all. And I was sitting there when they slammed in the back of my car, y'all. I promise y'all. So somebody help me understand what the fuck is going on. Like, it's like I went through a portal and these people didn't see me until they hit the back of me, because they saying they didn't see me, but they don't even know. Okay, yeah, doctor here, I gotta go.
So how do you actually know that quantum leaping has actually taken place in your life? There are a few signs that can give you indications that you've made that shift. And one of those things will be changes in your environment. Be it big or small, the change is noticeable enough for you to question it. You may notice small or subtle differences in your surroundings. Maybe even noticing that you are literally vibrating different. And sometimes you may notice that shift not only in yourself, but others around you as well. Another major one that we talk about in the spiritual community that doesn't get enough recognition for me would be deja vu or familiarity. When you are experiencing deja vu, that is the universe's way, or multiple universes' way, of letting you know that you're experiencing something simultaneously in other realities. You know for certain that you've never been to a place before in this reality, but something about it just feels so familiar, giving you feelings of nostalgia. And that's simply because it is familiar, just not to you in this dimension. Another popular thing, especially with this quantum immortality theory, would be losing track of time. literally losing hours. I mean, I'm not talking small increments of time. I literally feel like time is moving differently. So you may check the clock and notice that it is hours later than what you thought it was. Or maybe you know that something was supposed to be happening for you today, but it seems like it's already happened. Or vice versa, you know for a fact that something happened, but nobody else in your reality seems to think that that happened.
We're about to have the weirdest conversation ever about something called quantum immortality, but it's really just talking about jumping timelines when something bad happens and kind of resetting things. So this is crazy. I just saw a TikTok from someone who basically said that they believe that they jumped timelines after a work accident that happened that they definitely wouldn't have survived, but somehow did. Tell me why this happened to me when I was like 3 or 4. The thing that throws me off about this story is that I don't really remember anything super clearly before this moment, almost as if I don't remember a previous timeline, but I remember almost everything that happened after this timeline shift. So I was like 3 or 4, and I literally was like at a friend's house. There was a swimming pool, like one of those baby swimming pools, and there was a broom under it. And I kind of remember trying to like pull on the broom, and then apparently it like jerked out, and like the broomstick went into my eye, and like I just remember blackness, like darkness. I don't remember a lot after that, but according to my mom, looking at a white butterfly over here that's like flying as I'm telling this story. Apparently my mom was like screaming, there was like blood, like it looked like my eye was gone. So she's freaking out, she puts a washcloth over my eye and drives me to the ER, and she's like freaking out. What I do remember is taking the washcloth off of my eye and looking at my mom's face, and her face is just like, it like changes, it goes to like shock. And I'm seeing perfectly, and I'm like, I just remember taking that off my eye and looking at her, and her being like, what just happened? Like my eye was 100% healed. Everything was like back to normal as if nothing had happened. She's like, well, I'm at the ER, so I might as well take her in and like see what's going on. And she told me that the doctors came in and looked at me, and they're like, there's literally nothing wrong with your child. Like, are you sure she hit her eye? I still think about that day all the time. I have like perfect vision, like I don't have to wear glasses, like literally nothing's wrong with either one of my eyes, but I don't remember the actual incident as much as I do removing the washcloth and feeling like I had jumped onto a different timeline. I know this story is so crazy, but you have to tell me if you've heard of a story like this, or if you've experienced something like this where you're like, no, something definitely happened, and it's almost like the rewind button got pressed.
And another big indicator would be emotional shifts. Maybe your emotions are picking up with the reality where you should be at versus where you currently are, aka your ideal reality. Now, obviously, a lot of people who are having the experience of these phenomenons are accidentally experiencing them. But how can you experience quantum leaping or reality shifting manually? A lot of people do believe that this phenomenon is something that you experience spontaneously, but there is a way to, for lack of a better term, manually shift yourself. One of the most popular techniques is through visualization. If you can see it in your mind's eye, it can become your reality. And if any of you guys are my clients who have gotten personal readings with me, you know for a fact that I've told you that, because I am a firm believer of that. If you can see it in your mind's eye, why can't you have it in your reality? This is why you hear so many spiritualists or practitioners talk about decalcifying that pineal gland, but that's for another video. Another way is through affirmations. You can literally reprogram your mind to shift its consciousness. So something as simple as repeating the affirmation, I am shifting to my ideal reality, or I am living the life that I desire. Saying things like that, you can start to align your energy with a new timeline that coincides with said affirmations.
I should have been a physicist, because the way quantum mechanics has me in a chokehold is unbelievable. Y'all are really going to want to hear this, so just stick around. So there's an extremely trippy theory that suggests that things are only real when we observe them. Just follow me here. When we take an electron and we look at it under a microscope, we see that it becomes a particle, meaning it takes shape. But something very strange happens when the person observing that electron walks away from it. It disappears. When it's being watched, it turns into a particle. When you turn your head, it goes back into a wave. So what the fuck does this mean? And how are we going to use quantum mechanics to win in our life? This means that things only exist when we observe them. So y'all know me, I had to apply this to money, because money seems to have everybody in a headlock. If you want money, you're going to have to put yourself in places of more money. You're going to have to go to the fancy restaurants, the country clubs. You might even have to save some so you can notice the big number in your account. You can honestly even just watch people who have a lot of money. You're going to observe money so it can become real for you. Because observation is what makes something real. Without observation, it ceases to exist. Kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And I get it. It's trippy because it's like, how is it not real? I've seen it before. Yeah, when you were observing it. Let's go back to the original theory that suggests particles are waves unless they're observed. If you don't observe something, it turns into a wave. That doesn't mean it's not there, you just can't see it. So money is a real thing. It's somewhere. But some people seem to have it and others don't. And what's the difference? This theory right here. And this goes for everything. Y'all remember a few years ago, like way before our time, nobody was able to run a 4-minute mile. And one day, this man runs a 4-minute mile, and then all of a sudden, everybody's able to run a 4-minute mile. That's because we had to observe that that was a thing before it became real. Once we observed that that was a possibility, it became real. Everybody can run a 4-minute mile now. Well, not everybody, because I can't. So find a healthy way to get around the things that you want. You want a big house? Drive in that fancy neighborhood every day like Drake did. You want to be famous? Get around famous people like Kim Kardashian. These people that were able to achieve the things they wanted didn't know the science behind what they were doing. They were just lucky enough to know to do it. Here we are talking about the science. Observe something enough times, make it real, and you can have it. I hope that made sense. I'm just a nerd with a TikTok, y'all. Nothing to see here. Like and comment if you're going to try it, and follow me for more therapy content. Love y'all forever. Mwah.
Now, the next method is something that I know you guys have seen in Hollyweird plenty of times, and that would be the Raven method. Now, I've never personally tried it, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning in this video because apparently a lot of you all definitely swear by it, at least in the research that I've gathered. Apparently, laying in this position in a meditative state can help create that shift that you're looking for.
Reality shifters, stop scrolling. Also, please ignore the pen on my hand. I'm left-handed, and so every time I write with pen, it all gets on my hand. I want to take a second and talk about the Raven method. Everybody that I know on this app who is on Shift Talk shits on the Raven method. But me, don't come for me when I say this, but I kind of like the Raven method. The very first time that I attempted to shift, back in 2020, I used the Raven method, and I got so scared because I got symptoms and I was shifting in that moment. But I opened my eyes because I was like, what is going on? Yes, I laid in the starfish position when that happened. Every single time I have attempted to shift, I have been on my back, pretty much in the starfish position. And now, when I lay in the starfish position, when I attempt to shift, my body and my mind knows that I am about to shift. And everybody shits on this method, and I like it. And so I don't know, I guess justice for the Raven method.
Another method that I found in my research would be the staircase method. So imagine yourself walking up a staircase, and each step that you take is a representation of your consciousness shifting to a higher, better reality. And as you ascend, you visualize your reality becoming clearer. Last but not least, one of my ultimate favorites, which would be scripting or writing out intentionally. Writing down your desired reality is a extremely powerful tool. Write out exactly what your shift looks like. I mean, down to your favorite color that you're wearing, the car that you drive, the type of house, the scenery in which said house is in. Be as intentional and descriptive as you can. Leave no room for the universe to throw its interpretation in there. You make that command. Again, be as descriptive and detailed as you can, and write as if it is already taken place. And for an extra oomph to your intentions, recite them before bed. There's a lot that happens in the dream realm. We all know that your consciousness goes to another place while you're dreaming. Give it something to focus on.
Here's how to manifest anything you want overnight. If you don't know me, I'm Pebbles, which you should by now because I'm fucking amazing. But if you don't, that's fine. Welcome to the club. I'm a manifestation coach. I can get you whatever you want quicker than if you do it by yourself. So I haven't really come up with a name for this technique yet, but basically you're going to be placing your order with the universe as if you were at a fast food restaurant like McDonald's or something. This needs to be done at night. This needs to be the very last thing that you do before you close your eyes. So if you still have dishes to wash and you ain't washed your ass and you need to get in the shower, then when you get in bed, do this, okay? And all you need is a piece of paper and a pen or a marker or a crayon. It doesn't matter. Now, typically when you go to a restaurant, you say something like, can I have a... And that's a dumb question. Of course you can have it. When you're manifesting, you don't want to do that because you can have whatever you want. You need to have that mindset like you can have whatever you want. So you need to write it out like, I'll have this, this, and this. whatever you're trying to manifest by morning, whether it's a text message, an email, a brand deal, something like that, confirmation, it's up to you. I'll have the 10,000 followers. I'll have or you can even, I get childish with it sometimes, and I say I'll have the combo that comes with 10,000 followers and 2 brand deals. Like, play around with it. At the bottom of that page, put something like, thank you so much, universe, for always fulfilling my order and always getting it right. Or I am so happy and grateful to be able to order again, or something along the lines of how grateful you are that they always get your order right to a T, and you're excited about it. Fold the piece of paper, put it under your pillow, go to bed. Your manifestation will be there in the morning. I love you guys. I almost forgot. Comment something so you can respond to your own comment tomorrow and tell us about all the great things that manifested for you in the morning. And if you didn't manifest anything, still comment. I want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Okay? Love you guys.
So whether you're wanting to manifest a different version of your life or jump into a new reality altogether, quantum leaping and reality shifting have limitless and endless opportunities for you. Again, it is key to keep in mind that your intentions matter tremendously. Your mental and your energy must be in the right place for these things to actually happen. At least the way that you're looking for, because you may accidentally shift yourself somewhere you don't need to be. The more aligned you are with your desires, the more likely you are to have them. Now, I personally would love to hear about your experiences with quantum leaping. So if you have a story, leave it down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so when other videos like this come up, you're the first to know. So with that being said, make sure you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected. And as always, Luna loves you. Thank you.